Do yourself a favor and throw a Ned rig, man. Throw a Ned rig. Does it catch a lot of big ones? Nah, not really. But it's still probably the most fish catching this bait in the history of baits. Throw a Ned rig. It works. It catches fish. Morning, everybody. Or whenever the hell you're seeing this. I keep getting a lot of messages and comments under the pictures and things that I post because a lot of people are telling me right now that you're not catching any fish, or it's very difficult for you to be able to catch a fish. There's a lot of folks that are just getting into bass fishing. They don't know what to use. They keep seeing all this content on YouTube and it's confusing them and all kind of stuff like that. So we're just going to simplify things right here. Because you're looking at a lot of stuff and it's telling you, all these different guys are telling you, oh, well, in the springtime use this, in the wintertime use this, when the water looks like this, use that. And when the wind blows this way, in this direction, at exactly 15 miles an hour, use this. Throw all that out the window, you can forget all of that. These are the easiest, most consistent bass lures that you can catch fish on right now today. As soon as you get through with this video, you can get up, go to the store, pick up one of these, throw it out and catch a bass. I promise you, we'll be able to get bass on your line right now. So first of all, the primary lure, a lipless crankbait. This is a Lucky Craft LV500. No, you do not have to have this exact lure. You can go around to your local Walmart, your local Bass Pro Shops, wherever, and grab yourself a lipless crankbait. My preferred colors are chrome and blue. A chrome and blue one of these will work anywhere, anytime, all year round. Anyways, what does it do? It vibrates really hard, it rattles, and it casts like a bullet and sinks like a rock. These are some of the qualities that make this bait so good at being able to cover a lot of water in a short amount of time. If you've never been to a place before, you've never caught a bass out of a certain lake or a certain river or pond or whatever before, this is one of the best lures that you can use to be able to locate bass quickly in a very short amount of time and be very efficient. Now, it is snag prone. That's the only bad thing about it. So if there's a lot of cover and stuff in there, you're probably going to get hung on it. So be careful of that. But this is probably the best lure for covering a large amount of water in a short amount of time all year round. Now, it is primarily a spring and fall time bait. Early in the pre-spawn, the bass come out of their wintering holes. They get up on the flats and they get up into secondary points and stuff like that where they're staging, getting ready to spawn. Everybody's throwing one of these, or they at least have them in the boat. Summertime comes around. The grass grows in, the fish have gotten off their beds. This does a really good job at being fished over the tops of grass and being ripped out of the grass in the summertime, and they get bit that way. In the fall, when the bait fish are being schooled up, and bass are blowing up on shad on top and pushing them into the backs of pockets and they're eating them, this is a bait that people keep recommending and everybody uses during the fall months. Even in the wintertime, when bass move out deep, they get over deep brush, they get over the ends of long tapering points that are right next to creek channels and stuff like that. You can throw this again and vertically jig it. And you can fish it really slowly, slow rolling over the tops of their heads and all kind of stuff like that, hopping it on the bottom, and it does a good job in the wintertime then. It is a 4-season bait. You have to keep these on you all year round because they work all year round. Now, there are a couple of types of lipless crankbaits. The primary ones are the ones that rattle. Everybody makes ones that rattle. Sounds like this. It could be a high-pitch rattle or a low-pitch rattle, but everybody makes a lipless crankbait that rattles. The second kind is one that is a one-knocker. Okay, this is the difference. Okay, so we use the one-knocker. I use the one-knocker when I've already caught a bunch of fish on the rattling one and they've turned off it, they've quit eating it. I'll follow up with the one-knocker. Or if I'm in an area where the wind slows down a little bit, or the fish just seem a little less active, or if I'm fishing a place where everybody has been throwing these already and they keep hearing rattle, 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 and they start responding to standard rattle baits, you can use one that has a different sound, one-knocker, and still catch fish. The last one is the silent lipless crankbait, one that makes no noise at all. I use that on days when the weather is calm and still and there's not a lot of wind at all, and when there's bright skies and it's high sun and the fish are not that active, and when you're in a high pressure situation, everybody goes fishing at this place, I just use those silent ones. Those are the only differences that you need to know when it comes to lipless crankbaits on a surface level. We can get into way deeper into it, way down the rabbit hole later, But right now, that's all you really need to know. You can pick up a lipless crankbait, throw it anywhere, anytime, and catch fish. Colors are another thing, but like I said, chrome and blue is probably the most consistent. Chrome and blue, sexy shad, and fire tiger are really the only 3 colors you need. We'll do a lipless crankbait video later, but that's the first lure. The next thing you need to know, bait you need to have, is some variety of straight tail worm. The Zoom trick worm is hands down the all-time favorite. This one's the GOAT. Everybody uses it. You're not going to find anybody that fishes anywhere on the pro level or as an amateur who does not have one of these, or a couple of bags of these, to be honest with you. As far as colors, my favorite color is black. Black is, you're going to have a bunch of people tell you, oh, we need green pumpkin, you need watermelon, you need this color, that color. Yeah, black is the most consistent. Black is the ultimate color. Anyways, the way that you fish these, there's almost no wrong way to do them. You can put them on a standard Texas rig, you can put them on a weightless Texas rig, you can Carolina rig it, you can Nico rig it, you can put it on a shaky head, you can put it on a drop shot, all these different techniques. But this bait is probably one of the most versatile baits that there is to use, and it will consistently get bites all year round. And I know it looks like it has nothing going on for it, it's kind of a do-nothing action, but that's kind of the whole point. The fish like that, not doing too much action. You know, it's very subtle. My primary way of fishing this worm is when the water's warm, I'll put it on a weightless Texas rig and I'll throw it out and I'll twitch it around. If the water is cold and the fish are not that active, or if they're hunkering down on the bottom, I'll put it on a shaky head. All the shaky head is this just a little jig head with a hook on it. You stick it on there, it sits like this. You throw it out, it sinks to the bottom, you drag it on the bottom real slow, you let it sit, and you shake it in place. And that will catch bass 99.999% of the time, all year round, day or night. They eat shaky head worms just like that. On the shorter variety, this happens to be a softy worm. This is made by a local company. These are more buoyant. They're shorter and more buoyant, so I like to fish these on the drop shot rig. You've got a hook up here, you've got a piece of leader line, and you got a weight at the bottom. It just kind of sits in place. You throw it out, you drag it and shake it, kind of like how you would with the shaky head. This will catch fish all year round, regardless of any circumstances. That is a good way to catch fish. Another variety of straight tail worm is the cigar worm. This is a 4-inch Gary Yamamoto Senko. The Senko basically took the bass fishing world by storm when they came out. It's a heavily salted, shorter, fatter, rounder variety of straight tail worm. If you look at these side by side, you can see that the shape is not really the same. This fish is best on a wacky rig. What a wacky rig is, you have a little short, you have a short little hook, short round hook, you just literally stick it right through the middle. What that does is when you cast it out, a Senko worm, unlike a standard worm, has a little bit of shimmy and wiggle to it on the drop. It has a little bit different action. If you wacky rig a straight tail worm, it can work, but you know, it kind of hangs like this and it may wave a little bit. It's not really the same. That Senko worm, stick worm, has a nice little shimmy to it on the drop. This works well for suspended fish. It's also a good lure if you're fishing somewhere and you have no idea where the bass are at. It's a new lake. It's one of the most consistent lures at finding and catching fish, even on a really tough day. One of the other things that you can do with it is put it on a flick shake rig. What that is basically a weighted wacky jig. Instead of it being a single hook, it's a single hook with a lead head on it, and it just increases that action as it's falling down and increases the drop speed. You can throw it out over deeper water and fish it deeper, faster, covering more water with it. That works all year round. Next up is the skirted jig. The jig is arguably the greatest bass lure of all time. They will always eat a jig. I don't care where you're at in the country or even where you're at in the world, to be honest with you. They're catching bass in Africa, Hawaii, wherever. But a skirted jig catches bass all year round, regardless of water clarity, water temperature, all that kind of stuff. The reason why is because it's one of the most versatile baits of all time. You can skip it, swim it, cast it, hop it off the bottom. You can do what's called stroking a jig, where you snap it off the bottom really hard and it just rockets back down. You can throw it in the trees, bushes, skip docks. You can do all kind of different stuff with them. There is some kind of jig and trailer combination that will catch a bass all year round, and there's all types of different jigs that you can buy. They've got grass jigs, they've got swim jigs, they've got football jigs, ball head finesse jigs. You've got finesse versions of casting jigs. You've got all kinds of different jigs. The most versatile one is probably this Arky style head. It's shaped like a boxing glove. You see it's got that little round head shape on the bottom. This is the jack of all trades type jig. That means it does a little bit of everything, but it doesn't do any one particular thing very well. So all that stuff I just named, swimming it, dragging it, hopping it, all that kind of stuff, you can do it with this. It's just that it's not going to do any of those specific things perfectly. It'll be able to do it well enough to get by. So if you would only have one, you want that. As far as trailers, you want to get either a beaver or a crawl type trailer. Those are two of the best trailers you'll be using that are the most versatile. Unless you're going to be swimming the jig, then you can go ahead and put a little paddle tail swim bait on the end of it. Otherwise, I like to stick to these beavers. That's a Missile Baits D-Bomb or a Rage Tail Crawl by Strike King. Those are the two trailers that I use most of the time. The way that you actually fish this is to throw it out, let it sink down to the bottom. You can drag it, shake it, let it sit in place, hop it. You can pitch and flip where you get up onto a tree or a bush or something, get up to it, throw in there a few times, let it sink down to the bottom, move it a little bit. If they don't bite, just reel it in and throw again. This bait will catch fish all year round. You always got to have some jigs on you, because there's never a time where it's a bad idea to throw a jig. The last bait is the Ned rig. This is a very easy, simple bait to use. All it is just a little mushroom head like that, and this little short, kind of half a worm looking lure on the end of it. There's a lot of different shapes for Ned rig baits now. You have crawls, you have little bait fish looking things, you've got some insect larva looking things, you've got all kinds of different stuff, but the most popular one is just this kind of like half a worm shaped bait on the end of it. This happens to be a Z-Man Finesse TRD. This is the one that I prefer to use 99% of the time whenever the fishing gets really tough. The reason for that is because Z-Man plastics, number one, they're super durable, they're very stretchy, they can't be destroyed. You can catch 1,000 fish on this thing and keep going. The other thing about it is that it's extremely buoyant. It stands straight up on the bottom like this. The reason why I want that is because the baits that do not float up, they drag on the bottom like this. They'll just drag across the bottom, and that's fine whenever you're just fishing for fun and you're just kind of messing around. But when it's a really tough day, I prefer the ones that stand up like this. Reason why is because what's happening is the fish see this bait, they come over and they nose it. They come up and they just look at it just like that, and you can see just from me holding it in my hand, it's moving around a little bit. That sitting there on the bottom wiggling just from your rod tip, you holding the rod, or the current in the water, the wind blowing, is just enough to get a fish to pick it up a lot of times, even when it's bitter cold outside. I've caught bass on a Ned rig when it was 30 degrees outside and there was ice in the rod guides and ice on the surface of the lake. And mind you, I live down south. These are a lot of Florida strain bass. They don't do cold, and they'll still eat this. All right, so the way that you fish a Ned rig, there's almost no wrong way to do it. You can swim it, drag it, hop it on the bottom. One of the main ways to use it is to actually throw it out, let it sink down to the bottom, and just slowly reel the handle all the way back to you. That works. The way that I like to fish it is by dead sticking. I throw it out, it gets down to the bottom, and I just sit there and hold it. And I drag it a little bit, shake it, and sit there and hold it. And the fish just pick it up. All of a sudden you feel some dead weight on the end of it, or you see your line moving off, the fish has got it, I set the hook, I pull them in. Okay, now that we've covered all of those, I hope this helps you. I'm going to go catch me a Ned rig fish right now, because I am so confident that I can catch a fish with this right now on cue. I'm going to show you how easy it is to catch a fish with this thing right now. This is how easy it is to catch a fish with this thing. Take that and hit it with some scent. Okay. Nice little skip cast. This lure actually works the best when it's not moving. So you move it a little bit, let it sit, move it a little bit more, let it sit, and that will catch fish on the toughest day. Get a little bit further back. There we go. Let it settle down to the bottom. Twitch it, let it sit. There we go. Didn't I tell you? There's a decent little large head. That's just how easy it is to catch a fish with this freaking thing. Look at that. Decent little largemouth. Second cast. Ned rig to the jaw. Pretty little fish. There you go. Let that one go. All right, I'm back. See? Literally caught one right on cue. I said, hey, I'm gonna catch a fish on this right now. Went down there. You saw it, snatched his ass out. It's that easy. Keep sending me these messages talking about how you can't catch a fish, you don't know what lures to use. I'm gonna have to come to the phone and whoop your ass. Because I done told you. Alright, so, just to recap. You want a Ned rig, some kind of mushroom head jig, and soft plastic trailer. Preferably a Z-Man Finesse TRD. Ignore that dude flying by in the Hellcat. This is Atlanta. The hooligans are out. Next up, Lipless crankbait. Finesse worm. The Senko type worm. And a skirted jig. Alright, hopefully this helps you guys out. We can get into all the little minor details of what colors to use and what line to use and rods and reels and all that kind of stuff and all the little minor details about it. But just to keep things short, for the sake of keeping things short, we're going to just condense everything in this one video, and then I'll give you a longer video about each lure later on. I hope I helped y'all out today. You may or may not still suck after this, but at least you know you're throwing the right thing. Now I got to get up out of here pretty soon. I got a few more minutes. I'm going to catch a couple more fish, and then I got to go because this morning is actually Thanksgiving this morning. And there's a bunch of angry women that are going to start blowing me up if I'm not home in time for dinner. You still fishing out there? You're damn right. You're damn right. All right. See you guys next time.